Hello everyone. This is a very brief progress update about the software I'm working on for the C256 Foenix Gen X. The software will receive MIDI messages and route them to the various sound chips the Gen X offers. This update follows the original, much longer, introduction video released last spring, which will be linked to below. There are 6 new points to cover. Number 1. The software now has a name. It's called Starlet. Number 2. GUI for all the chips is done. I had previously done only the SIDs to make sure the GUI system works, but now I have every parameter of every voice and oscillator of every chip, including the help text at the bottom, which, as always, update according to whether you've got that parameter set to exact mode or spread mode, and whether you've got it set to a MIDI CC or to pitch bend. The YM F262 had a bit of an extra challenge here. By default, one voice on the F262 has 2 oscillators, but you can combine pairs of 2 oscillator voices into a single 4 oscillator voice. In my GUI, you set that on the F262's global subtab, and you can see that the other subtabs realign to match. This was actually a real pain in the neck to implement. While all the other chips just have a static list of subtabs, the F262's had to be generated in real time. Number 3. Saving presets. So right now I'm on an oscillator page for a voice on the YM2612. When I press S from this, or any page, we jump to the save page. And before saving, we can choose the scope of the save we're about to make. I can save just the oscillator I jumped here from, and it tells us that that's voice 1, oscillator 1, or the entire voice this oscillator is a part of. So that'd be the voice level parameters and the parameters for all 4 oscillators in this voice. Or I can even save the entire YM2612 chip. For this example, let's save the voice. Enter to select, and then we can give it a name. Number 4. Loading presets. Now, if we wanted to load that preset into one or more other 2612 voices, we can come to the load page. All the presets we've saved so far are in this list, and next to the name for each one, we're reminded of the scope that it covers. So here's one for a PSG voice, and here's an entire SID chip. But let's head to our cool bloop and hit enter. And now we're presented of a list of all the possible places we can load it into that are appropriate for this preset. So in our case, all of the YM2612 voices, for both the software 2612 and the potential hardware 2612. Let's put it in the software 2612 voice 2 and then 3. And when we're done, we can escape out and press L to jump back to where we were working. Once again, the F262 was an extra challenge here. When you jump back to a page, the system remembers which tab you were on, and even the position of your cursor in terms of which row and which column. But if I have the F262 set with all of the voice pairs decoupled, jump to the load page and load an F262 full chip save that has some of the voices combined, then the tab I came from might not exist anymore, or might now be a different number in the order. So, just for the F262, I had to invent an entirely different way of storing which tab the user was on. The F262 is quickly becoming my favorite chip to deal with. Number 5. Assigning presets to patches. We can also assign any preset we've saved to a patch number. On the patch page, we can pick our cool bloop and then assign it to, let's say, patch number 3. So then, during the course of MIDI playback, if we send a MIDI patch change message on a given channel, then if that preset matches the chip that's receiving the channel, it'll load our preset. This allows the user to load presets in real time during playback. Number 6. Accessing media. The user will also be able to save and load from storage media, including the SD card, floppy, or hard drive that your Gen X might have. This doesn't actually work yet, and I won't get it working until I have actual hardware to debug on, but the GUI for it is there. On this page, we can choose a single preset to save, which would get saved as a .st0 type. Or on this page, we can save different combinations of bulk data. You can toggle whether this bulk save will include each of all user presets, instead of just one, the table of patch assignments that we just talked about, as well as the polymodes from the channels page that I went over in the first video, and or the current parameters for every chip in the system, essentially saving your entire workspace. Different combinations of these 3 types of bulk save result in different file extensions from .st1 through .st7. After we've chosen, we're taken to this list of potential media. This is a dummy static list right now for demo purposes, but will eventually show only the media currently available. And if the user has multiple partitions on one of the media devices, this list can just scroll to accommodate the extra lines. Lastly, we can see the existing contents of that storage media, although obviously this is just a mock-up for now. And of course we can give our file a name. Loading uses a similar interface. That's it for now. The Gen X's should be shipping soon. Can you feel the excitement? Having the GUI ready to go means that I can immediately begin work on the actual MIDI processing part of the software as soon as I get my Gen X. Hopefully by the middle of next year, I'll be showing off some actual music. Until then, I'll see you all in the Discord.